It's been a while that I checked out a foldable smartphone, and especially on the global market there is, besides Huawei that is still there, only Samsung. But now Honor is joining the game, and I have here in my hands the Honor Magic VS and want to do a quick unboxing and first look. So let's get started. So here we have the Honor box, and I want to do a really good unboxing of this one because it's a very large box and you can see it has some texture there. At least you can hear it eventually. Honor Magic VS on the sides here, you can see the texture especially, and you see on the other side some data but also the EMI number, so I'm not showing this to you. So very exclusive box, also with a magnetic flap that you can just open up and lift up. And what is written here is first of all Honor, and you can see the smartphone itself, but here is written "Go Beyond," as you can see. So yeah, there we have the smartphone itself, and we can lift it up like this, and we will check it out just in a second. There we have an Honor flap as well, where I can lift this up, and I will lift this up. You have 3 compartments here consisting of a SIM eject tool and some paperwork. Feels not like plastic here or paper-like material, but more like leather material, so they have definitely some coating there. And here we have a case. So Honor ships with a hard case as well. We'll check this out later. We have some paperwork here as well. Power plug, of course. Here Honor supercharged 66 watt. Very, very cool. So the same charger that I can use also for my Honor Magic 5 Pro. So this one is USB A to C. So this one should be also a USB A to C cable. Yes, it is an USB A to C cable. There you can see it. USB A to C cable. And we see some, of course, security advisories, just like what to do, what not to do with this phone. A foldable phone, of course, we have to have some measures in place. And let's open it up. There you saw it opening up nicely, and here we go. That's the Honor Magic VS. Here we have a rubberized material outside here protecting the device when I just close it down as this. Here we have the front screen. I think there's a screen protector. This is why this is catching up definitely the fingerprints immediately. Here we have the hinge, and we have the cyan blue kind of color. I think now it's blue because it's reflecting the sky a little bit through the window. It feels like a very matte glass and a little bit more of a grippy kind of glass. Very interesting. We see the camera module here consisting of the 54 megapixel main camera, 8 megapixel telezoom, as well as a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle. Very familiar, I think, to the Honor 70. The sensors as well. The only thing that they added is the 8 megapixel 3 times, I think, telezoom. And we have the front display there. We have the power button with integrated fingerprint reader. This is why it's a bit matte instead of the rest of the aluminum frame that is glossy. And we have the volume rocker here. You can see the volume rocker is on a different part of the phone. So if I open the phone up, we have the power button here, but the volume rocker here. So something that might be something that you need to get familiar with. When it comes to the device itself, USB-C 3.1, microphone, loudspeaker, dual SIM card slot, no expansion possible, and on the top another speaker, another microphone, and this is, I think, an IR blaster, so you also have the ability to control your televisions, ACs, and so on. So this is the device itself. Very cool indeed. You can see this very large screen here. I will write down the exact specification. 120 Hertz outer display. The inner display, I think, roughly 7.9 inch, if I'm not completely mistaken. And this one has 90 Hertz only. We have a front-facing camera, 16 megapixel there, and also here 16 megapixels. might be also very interesting. We'll of course now put on the case to check out how it will look like in the case before I start the device, and check out the software. It will look like, oh, very nice, same kind of color. It's a bit of a rubbery material as well, but it's a hard case, not so soft. Let's put it on. Yeah, it fits nicely, as you can see. It has, I think, also some gluing options, but it fits so tough that it's, and yeah, that's really helping enormously with the grip, I would say. It's open on the side. It's just protecting a little bit here on the side. It's not protecting the inside screen, of course, because it's just, cannot. Otherwise, you cannot close the device. And of course, closing the device, you get a nice, satisfying sound. And also, it's, flush. And yeah, let's turn this bad boy on and check out the software. So it vibrates for a second and then shows Honor and powered by Android. We have all the Google services, of course, on board, because Honor is now an independent company. Magic OS, as you can see here, we can choose the language. This is okay. We are in Germany, so let's choose Germany here. We can insert a SIM card, but we can also use an eSIM if we have an eSIM, which is pretty nice indeed. After everything is set up, we can unlock the device with a fingerprint. You can see I have my middle finger here. I can also use my thumb here for unlocking the device. This works very nicely, even though the placement, especially with the case on, is something that is a bit different without the case on. So I just used it without the case on to register the finger, and had to re-register this one with the case on, because it's like slightly different that you touch it. But you can see it's very quick in unlocking the device. And of course it also has face detection. So let me put my face in here, and you can see slide to open. So it detected my face there. Recognizing face, also very quick, as you can see. And now let's just open it up to show you all its glory, especially when it comes to the settings. And here we want to take a look at the storage. So we have 512 gigabytes available actually here, and 448 are available. So we have roughly a little bit over 20 gigabytes that we have, like, well, maybe 30 gigabytes almost, that is used up. We can clean stuff up, of course. I did not install any applications, so we have a little bit of bloatware. We have the Honor apps, of course, the Google apps as well. We have some other bloatware that I would say, like TikTok, Facebook, WPS Office, and Booking.com, but I think it's still okay. The rest here is, I think, useful, like, for example, device clone that allows you to clone from an existing Honor device your whole setup, especially also all the applications, which is quite cool. We have also the smart remote app, which allows us to remote control our television, our air conditioner, setup box, camera, network, STBs, DVD player, or projector. Quite interesting here as well. So good that they have a dedicated app for this. We don't need to use the, how's it called, AI Space app from Honor that is not pre-installed here by default. Yeah, this is the setup. As you can see here, we have the Google Feed on the left. It's not really optimized, I think, for this tablet form factor. As you can see, they could make it a little bit wider and put more information in there. But yeah, that's the Google issue here. The other thing is we don't have an app drawer here, and I don't think that I saw an app drawer here. So that's quite unfortunate, because on the Magic 5 Pro that I'm recording here right now with, you can find an app drawer there. Otherwise we have the typical Magic OS 7.1 with some optimizations for this form factor here at the top, so I can make it like this into a window, and a floating window. They can swipe up to close it, swipe down to maximize it, or minimize it here on the top bar, and drag the window to change its size. As you can see here, I can also choose here after clicking how I want this to be, like, for example, side by side. Then we have an app drawer here, as you can see, some kind of like multitasking app drawer. And what I can do is just say, okay, let's open up YouTube here on the other side. So this is possible. So I can have them side by side, and I can readjust slightly also the size here. I can tap also here, but I'm not able to support horizontal split, because In this case, I think it's complaining about Chrome does not support the horizontal split. So let's go out there. In multitasking view, we have the possibility to see those applications that are grouped together. There's some applications that don't support this yet, and I think Honor has to work still on the support for some applications that work with this. Otherwise, we have the version here, the version number. I didn't get any updates so far, 710.104, and there's no changelog available here. We have, of course, the Google services on board. We have foldable phone settings, just like, for example, fold the phone, keep the exterior screen on, or I have the possibility to say, okay, no, turn it off when I fold it. We have app scaling that we can turn on for certain applications, just like, for example, Instagram and so on, Twitter, for example, that might need this, and we can do it interior and exterior display, as well as the app extender, which is like available for certain third-party apps, just like, for example, I think AliExpress has this option. My first impression of the software, yeah, it's okay. It's a bit buggy here and there, or some features I would like to have, like this horizontal split on YouTube with different applications, especially the browser, for example, which is something that I don't like so much. Otherwise, the Honor's own applications, like the email application, the notes application, and others are optimized for this form factor here, but some applications are not, which are, yeah, sadly not really optimized on Android. What we want to check out right now is the camera. They have, of course, the newly improved camera, and here we have the interface, how it's looking like when I'm having it open up. And of course, I have also the possibility to say, here I want the cover screen to enable a preview. So what this does is like showing a little preview of what I want to take a look at. But what we don't have is like have the possibility to switch to the front camera. And I don't want any beauty effects, no. This is using the 16 megapixel front-facing camera here. And we can see it's a little bit pixelated already. But there's no option here, as far as I can see, to enable any user interface on the outside screen for vlogging, which might be very, very interesting, besides the cover screen preview. But the cover screen preview doesn't allow me to tap here to take a screenshot. I have to press, I have to press the button here, the volume button for taking the screenshot, just like this, which is a bit cumbersome. I hope that Honor will optimize this a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, let's check out some camera samples and videos. So this is now the front-facing video on the Honor Magic VS. Sadly, this one can only record 1080p, 30 or 60 frames per second. We have 1080p also in the 21:9 cinematic format, but no 4K video recording on the front-facing camera on the exterior screen. Let's check out the interior screen. So this is now the interior screen, also no 4K. It's the same camera sensor. I just turned now a 21:9 aspect ratio on, and I also turned on 60 frames per second. What do you think about this one here? I think the highlights are a little bit overblown there in the background. I think this is for video conferencing, still okay. Otherwise, yeah, I would not use it. Let's switch to the back-facing cameras. So now I'm using the back-facing cameras. I have the tablet mode basically enabled, or the phone just unfolded, so I can see myself down below on the screen. It's only a preview, so I have to press the volume key to record. This is the main camera sensor here that I'm using, the IMX800, very large 54 megapixel camera sensor, 1/1.5, I think, 1/1.49 inch size sensor. You get a bit of background blur as well as good HDR, so it shouldn't be too overblown. What do you think about this one here? And of course, but I have to switch to the back camera, or I have to just go here back. I can also go to the ultra wide angle. So now we have the ultra wide angle, which is really ultra wide, I would say, 13-14 millimeters, something like this. And we have also 4K recording, 4K 30 here, 50 megapixel sensor. I think, if I'm not correct, then correct me in the comments, I think it's the same sensor as on the Honor 70. So it's a mid-range kind of setup that we have here. as of now. But what do you think about the quality here? I think for vlogging this might be very ideal. I also have autofocus, so if I have anything that I can show, just like for example my Honor Magic 5 Pro, I can show very closely. It should be able to focus on this one here, which is quite interesting if you want to do such thing. For vlogging I think it's okay-ish, kind of, because you can see yourself, but I wish really to have more controls on the exterior screen, just like switching cameras for example, or yeah, seeing a little bit more than the time limit, because 15 minutes is still a time limit here also on this large Magic VS kind of device. And of course what we want to do as well is try out the telezoom camera, but at least it is showing that it's supported here. I'm not sure if it's like, yeah, probably it's a little bit upscaled for 4K 30, because I'm recording 4K 30 here, and on the user interface it is shown up as a telezoom camera. So let's try this out. So let's go here. There we can see it. 3.5 times zoom it should provide here, and yeah, we can do 3.5 times zoom. Just click in here and it's going to 3.5 times. I hope it is zooming in, and now using the telecamera, and I can go also to 10 times zoom, which looks like this. And what do you think about the quality here? I think for a foldable it's quite okay, but I saw already better. This is definitely with the Mate X2 that has a dedicated 10 times zoom lens, but 3.5 times I think should look fine. What do you think about this one here? What we also have on a Magic VS is the movie mode that we know from the Magic 5 series, or the Magic Pro, the Magic 4 even, that has this as well. This allows us to record in 21:9 aspect ratio, also cinematic 24 frames per second, and you have various different LUTs that you can provide. I'm using the dazzling LUT right now because I think this looks the most realistic right now in this scene here. It has an automatic recognition of the scene, so it can also do something else, just like automatically choosing a different LUT here, like classic, that it tried to do for me. But I think I like this LUT a lot. Also, I have the possibility to record 10-bit log files as well that I can color grade later on. The cool thing is I can do it on the phone itself, and then I can choose between the LUT how much I should apply or want to apply for this LUT, which is also very interesting indeed. So very nice, interesting device, especially when it comes to recording videos. It has all the capabilities of the flagship devices, but yeah, very interesting that we have this in a foldable. I think this is one of the best foldable when it comes to recording videos. What do you think? Write it down in the comment section. And now we check out some photos. So here we have the photos. This is just a first quick glance at the photos. So the selfie cam, 16 megapixels with the it doesn't matter exterior or interior screen, it's the same sensor. I think it's doing quite good job. It's a bit soft here on the side, as you can see, but I think my face is nice and sharp, and this was a bit too far. And I think HDR is also working quite okay. The highlight is, I think, the main sensor that is used here for the 2x portrait. When you're using the main sensors, I think the color is quite okay, and also the sharpness is there, everything nice and sharp like it should be, and the background blur I think is also okay for 2x zoom. Maybe a little bit too much shadows here and too much contrast. This is debatable. Ultra wide angle, the 50 megapixels is doing its job fine. I think it's on par, I think, with the Honor 70, and I have to be honest, I think the whole camera setup is like Honor 70 level here, of course minus the premium features that you get just simply from the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, but you can see I have the 2x zoom here as well. If I zoom in a little further, you can see it's not so detailed, but it's still, I think it's okay, kind of a job that it does. Also the background blur is nice here, and yeah, it is okay for this kind of lens. This is the main lens, and main sensor, we can see it is also not so sharp. I think the colors are nice and likable, not too over punchy, I would say. Also the sharpness, it is not overdoing it, but it is noticeable that it is not on flagship level, definitely not, but it's a solid mid-range device, and I think for this kind of device here, foldable device, I think it's doing an okayish kind of job. This is the ultra wide angle. I think the ultra wide angle is doing a little bit better than on the Honor 70, though it is very soft, as you can see here also, but towards the sides it's not getting too much softer than the middles that we see here, but the middle is really soft already, and I think the Honor 70 is doing here a better job there with its ultra wide angle. So if it's using the same sensor, I think Honor can optimize this a little bit more here when it comes to the ultra wide angle. The zoom lens is a bit of a mixed bag. So I think the 3.5 times zoom that I'm using here, what is it, 3 times zoom I think it's using here, it's okay, but it is coexisting with the other lenses, so it has the same kind of softness towards it, just like the other one. So not absolutely sharp, not over sharpened. The nice colors here towards the edges, maybe a little bit blurrier, especially here, as you can see here, but the rest I think it's quite okay as what it is here for an 8 megapixel sensor. 10 times zoom, forget about it. 3 times zoom is okay, but 10 times is maximum. It's just, it's unbearable. If I go into a little bit further here, you can see, no, it's really not very good. And if you go to 30 times, which is like possible, forget about it. It's an abstract painting, and yeah, I can see what it is, but still it is not very good and clever. The main sensor has nice background blur, as you can see. If you get close to subjects, you can get nice shots like this here. And I think it's a quite okayish kind of setup for a foldable phone. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disappointed. It could have been better. Here you can see the zoom lens with moving subjects. It's a 3 times zoom. It's lacking the sharpness. It's just very soft here. This is 10 times zoom. You can see what it might be eventually, but it is very far away from flagship devices. If you test flagship devices in slab phones, it's just like simply ways better. Nighttime performance I think is okay. You can see with the main lens, large aperture and large sensor, it's doing quite okay, I would say, for such a device. Nothing much to complain about in this low light situation. Also, the nighttime situation, just like this, great colors, and I like it. So it's doing a fine job there. Maybe not the sharpest, you can see a bit of noise going on, and the lack of details here, of course, but I think it's able to brighten up the whole experience here, which is, I think, quite okay. I didn't see anything of the toolbox here on my own. So yeah, first impressions of the camera, it's a mid-range level kind of camera. Dual view recording is also possible with the Honor Magic VS, and this one also allows me to zoom in, just like, for example, like this, even to 5 times, but it's only recording 1080p stretch as the resolution here. And I don't have any other controls like switching cameras to the back cameras completely. The only thing I can do is just stop and then choose to record in such a mode here where I can put myself wherever I want to. Stabilization on the screen looks fine. What do you think about this one here? By the way, using the internal mics, and there's a bit of a breeze going on, you might hear about it. As you can see here, the device supports the white wine level L1, so this gives you full HD support on Netflix, as well as HDR10 HEVC support as well, which is quite interesting on this 7.9-inch screen to watch such high-res footage. Otherwise, you can see the screen, the interior screen is visible. The banding that you can see here is just happening because of the camera and how I'm recording here right now. But it's quite visible even in direct sunlight, which is quite interesting. So we have 800 to 900 nits of peak brightness here on the interior disc screen, which is, I think, quite interesting. And then when I flip it to the exterior, it's even a bit brighter. I think it goes over 1000 nits here, which is also quite interesting. So no issues at all with sunlight outside visibility on both screens. This, by the way, is a 6.45-inch screen, so a little bit taller aspect ratio, 21:9, I think, reminds me a little bit of my Sony phones. So let's check out the speakers. The speakers get very loud without those distortion, and have a little bit of bass. So I think that this is a good pair of speakers here. When it comes to running applications, no matter if folded or unfolded, what we have is a very fast performance thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and 12 gigabytes of memory, which really helps with the fluidity of the device and of course with switching between applications, and they keep them long in memory. In this case it kicked it out of the memory, but usually it is running very fine, fast and fluid without much of stutters and issues on the external or the internal screen, which is quite nice. When it comes to charging speed, I already showed you 66 watts. The battery is a 5000 mAh battery, so very large battery for foldable for sure. And this will allow you to use the device very long, especially as the inner screen only has 90 Hz, which helps in preserving a bit of battery. Exterior screen, you have a little bit less of a power usage because the screen size is only 6.45 inch, and even with 120 Hz, this will last you the longest for sure. Sadly, when I see my Honor charger here, I really wish it would have wireless charging, but it doesn't have wireless charging. So the only thing that you can do is take a wire and then charge it with this wire. But you can see it will support maximum 66 watt charging, which is quite fast for foldable. So overall, my first impressions with the Honor Magic VS, it's quite a nice and capable device. I like the form factor. It is nice and thin for foldable, even though I think the Mate X3 and the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2 I think are a bit smaller still. I like this size of this device. The front screen is very usable, and also the unfolded device is pretty usable with its large 7.9 inch screen. The memory and 512 gigabytes and the 12 gigabytes of RAM are also very fluid, and I like the device very much. Honor Magic VS, a very interesting device that for the right price would be something very interesting. So I think if it reaches the price region of 1,300, 1,400 euros, this might be a very good alternative to the Samsung Galaxy Fold 4, especially if you're a Huawei or Honor fan and like the software and ecosystem. This is a very solid device. For the current price of, what is it, 1,600 euros, it's a bit of a tough sell here and there, but you can get it a bit cheaper, 1,513 euros, I think, for pre-order right now in Europe, in Germany especially. And this is, I think, then a good deal. What do you think about the Honor Magic VS? Write it down in the comment section. Of course, I will do a very detailed camera comparison with other devices, especially the other foldable device that I have, the Mate XS, as well as some vlogging tests where I think this would shine, and also a video editing test, because I think 7.9 inch might be very good also for editing videos on the fly when you're on the go, on a fair or something like this. Very interesting indeed. So what do you think about the Honor Magic VS? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until the next time. Bye.